Hi everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today's video is all about my Buffy the Vampire Slayer book collection. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today we're going to be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I've mentioned Buffy during this month of GarbAugust a couple of times already on my channel, and I thought that I would, in honour of GarbAugust, get back out my favourite TV tie-in books of all time. And I've already said in GarbAugust, which is a month of reading trashy books, in case you've missed it, my favourite type, subgenre of trash, would have to be the TV tie-in. And that really does stem from my love of books about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Back when this TV series was first out, I didn't really catch on in like the first year, I wouldn't say. By the time I caught on to Buffy, it was probably the start of series 3. Obviously I went back and watched it all and became absolutely obsessed with it. And today I've got a bit of a different video because I thought I would talk you through my collection of Buffy the Vampire Slayer books, but also I plan to select one and reread it to see if these books hold up to a rereading, because often we keep books that we really love and we keep collections that we've made of things, but we don't ever go back to them. So I wanted to find out if Buffy books are still good, because when I was a teenager I devoured these. I loved them. I thought they were brilliant because they gave me a chance to have more storylines with my favourite characters. I think Buffy lent itself quite well to spin-off books because sometimes, as well as the ongoing season-long storylines, Buffy had a bit of a monster of the week type format, and that really worked as books. So let's dive into what I've got here. Here I have got a box, and this box contains my Buffy books collection. I've been to my mum's garage where these were living, and I thought we could unbox these together and I could decide which Buffy book I'm going to reread. So I would say that this Buffy book collection falls broadly into 3 categories of books. Books about the TV series, so episode guides and things like that, which I'm not going to consider rereading. There were books of Buffy that were actually about a specific episode of Buffy, so they were a novelisation, of an episode. I'm not going to reread one of those because I did have on one of my shelves somewhere the Journals of Rupert Giles, I think it was called, and I can't seem to put my hand on it at the moment, but I pulled that out of this box the last time I looked at this box and I thought, oh, I haven't read this one before, but I read it and it was terrible. So I'm definitely not going to try one of the novelisations again. But I am going to try one of the sort of spin-off books of Buffy that took the Buffy characters and created their own stories. The first one in the top of this box is the Buffy the Vampire Slayer Sunnydale High Yearbook. And I believe that this was made to go with Series 3, and the end of Series 3 in particular. And it actually is supposedly the yearbook of Buffy, but as well as having sort of sections with graduation photos and things and fake signatures in the back, and also actual yearbook pictures of characters, it also does have sort of glossy photos from the series that are clearly like publicity photos and not yearbook photos. But yeah, I had this. I also had this unofficial guide to Buffy's world. It's got like cast biographies, brief history of vampires, and an episode guide in it. So this is called The Girls Got Bite, the unofficial guide to Buffy's world by Kathleen Tracy. I don't think this one was a favourite, but I think I might have picked that up second hand. And down the side here we have the official Watcher's Guide. I want to say this one was for series 1 and 2. Could have gone on a bit longer, not sure. And this one was volume 2, which I think then went on to feature probably 3 and 4, I want to say. So yeah, these had like behind the scenes info, things about the show basically, and definitely episode guides. So there was loads of additional material about the TV series in these, and I did enjoy them. I also had, in terms of like non-fiction about the show, I had Slayer, the totally cool unofficial guide to Buffy. I remember this had quite fun episode guides with all different categories about different episodes. I had the Buffy the Vampire Slayer pop quiz book, and I had the Slayer Files, which was again a completely and utterly unauthorised guide to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So those are all the unofficial ones and the ones that are about the show. The ones that were novelisations of episodes tended to be divided up to a particular character, so you could buy the character's book that you liked, and it would have like maybe 4 episodes novelised in it. And this one was the Willow Files Volume 1. It was based on I, Robot You, Jane, Phases and Dead Man's Party. And like I said, I don't think I really loved these ones as much as I loved the new original stories. Then we have the Xander Years Volume 1 and 2. I think this one had Teacher's Pet, Inca Mummy Girl and Bewitched, Bothered and Bewildered. And the second one had The Pack, Go Fish and The Zeppo. So they tended to be around episodes that were centric to that character. We have the Angel Chronicles Volume 2 and the Angel Chronicles Volume 1. They were based on the teleplays Angel and Reptile Boy and Lie to Me. And this one was Halloween, What's My Line Part 1 and What's My Line Part 2. These are not in any particular order, so if we come across another one of those kind, I will tell you. So then there was a couple that were a bit like sort of TV series episodes. These weren't my favourite either. This one's called How I Survived My Summer Vacation, Volume 1. So this one was a collection of original short stories based on the TV series. Again, this one doesn't really say who it's by. We have Night of the Living Rerun by Arthur Byron cover, and this is just based on the TV series. Again, these ones were not the best, these little thin ones. We have Coyote Moon by John Vaughan-Holt, Halloween Rain by Christopher Golden and Nancy Holder. They wrote quite a lot of Buffy books, if I recall correctly. Right, one of these is a novelisation of The Harvest, which was one of the early episodes, and this is actually a novelisation written by Richie Tankersley Cussick, who famously wrote a lot of point horror books that I read when I was younger. We also have a couple of new original ones based on the TV series. We have Power of Persuasion, and we have Visitors. I'll do all the smaller ones first. So we've got Ghoul Trouble by John Passarella. I think that was quite a late on one. And Crossings by Mel Odom. Sweet 16 by Scott Shinsen, possibly. Unnatural Selection by Mel Odom. I've already done that one. No, she wrote another one. I do actually have 2 copies of Unnatural Selection. For some reason, this one's got a different cover, so that's really weird. Both got the same tagline, An Environmental Evil Haunts Willow, but one has Willow and Xander on the front, and one has Giles and Buffy on the front, which was also the cover of a different one I just held up, so that's weird. I wonder if that's a thing. Oh, this one was free with a magazine. That probably explains it. So we also have Here Be Monsters by Cameron Doki, and Deep Water by Laura Ann Gilman and Josepha Sherman. I've got a couple more. So we've got Blooded by Christopher Golden and Nancy Holder. When I was reading these, I had started to keep a list of books that I read, but I didn't used to keep any kind of rating, so I've got no idea how much I loved these, or didn't. So yeah, Blooded. I think the rest that are in the box now are the ones that I will probably be choosing from. So yeah, let's see. So we have These Are Actors by Ashley McConnell and Dory Kugler. Probably won't pick that one because I don't remember anything about that one. The Wisdom of War by Christopher Golden. I think that was quite a late one. I don't think I'll read that one either. Immortal by Christopher Golden and Nancy Holder. I seem to remember this red cover, and I'm thinking maybe this was one that I really liked. So this one says that during a routine slaying, Buffy encounters a vampire named Veronique who knows the Slayer's name and can anticipate her attack. One who doesn't have the proper respect for Mr. Pointy. That was the name of Buffy's stake. one who cannot die. If slain, she will reincarnate in a new body. An invincible demon is the last thing Buffy needs right now. Joyce Summers is about to undergo a serious operation, calling up all her daughter's fears about her own mortality. Angel wants to comfort Buffy, but her mother's crisis underscores the difference between them. He will live forever, while she will grow old or die young. Torn between her duties as a daughter and as the chosen one, Buffy needs the support of her friends to help her solve a rash of grave robberies, head off an influx of new vampires, and take Veronique down once and for all. So, might be that one. That might be a good choice. This one is Return to Chaos by Craig Shaw Gardner. Child of the Hunt by Christopher Golden and Nancy Holder. I'm really tempted to read one of the Christopher Golden and Nancy Holder ones because I remember them being really good and they wrote quite a lot, so they were obviously asked back to write these many times. A travelling Renaissance fair has come to Sunnydale. The fair may seem terminally uncool, but Buffy and her friends are charmed anyway, especially by a sad-eyed boy named Roland who serves as the court jester. Unfortunately, the people from the fair are not the only visitors in Sunnydale. Roaming the countryside are nasty little creatures with a taste for flesh, the Dark Fairy. They are minions of the Wild Hunt, servants of the evil Earl King. Buffy's challenge is to annihilate the king and his murderous horde. Possible, but I didn't love the sound of the back of that. We have Sons of Entropy. Some of these were in a series. Yeah, so this was the famous trilogy that Christopher Golden and Nancy Holder wrote together. So we have Out of the Madhouse, Ghost Roads, which was book 2, and Sons of Entropy, which is book 3. I remember these being really good, but I don't want to commit to a whole trilogy yet, so we'll put them out of the way. We have Sins of the Father by Christopher Golden. This one could be interesting. I don't know, I'm going to put that on the maybe. I won't read the blurb for now, because we might be here forever. We've got Primeval by Diana G. Gallagher. Infinity Awaits an Ancient Evil. Don't remember anything about that, but it's possible. We have Resurrecting Ravana by Ray Garton. I don't think that was a favourite, but I could be wrong. This is the one I always remember the title of because I'd never heard one of the words in it before. And this is Obsidian Fate by Diana G. Gallagher. So I'm going to put that on the maybe pile because I'm drawn in by the title. Paleo, which I seem to remember had like an archaeology spin to it. That one's by Yvonne Navarro, and that is, I think there was, it says evil is never extinct, so I definitely think there was an archaeology bit to that, but I'm not that interested in rereading it. The Evil That Men Do by Nancy Holder. Don't think I want to reread that one, but I could be wrong. Revenant by Mel Odom. Foreign Evil Has a New Address. Don't think I'll read that one. And we've got 3 more left. So we have Mortal Fear by Scott and Denise Sin. Tempted Champions by Yvonne Navarro. And Apocalypse Memories by Laura J. Burns and Melinda Metz. I seem to remember this one being a bit more recent, but I'm not going to read that one, I don't think. Let's put the box down because the box is now empty. So I think I'm going to choose from these 5. So we have Immortal, Child of the Hunt, Sins of the Father, Primeval, and Obsidian Fate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one of these 5 to read. You never know, I might even end up choosing more than one if I read it and it's really good, or if I read one and it's really terrible and I DNF it, I might pick another one and give it another chance. So I think it will be out of these 5, just purely on cover, memories of the titles and that sort of thing, because I don't remember anything about these. I don't think I've read a Buffy book since I was about, I want to say probably the oldest I read these ones in this box at would have been maybe 20. Absolute maximum, maybe 19. I think I have got a couple of Buffy books on my shelves. I really don't know where I've hidden the Rupert Giles one. I cannot find it, but that would be in my collection as well. And just to complete the Buffy collection, I'll show you the 2 that I do have on my shelves. These are both graphic novels. So I have Omnibus Volume 1 of Season 8. So there were 7 series of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Season 8 was then released as graphic novels, and I only sadly have been able to get hold of half the series. So when I bought this, I just bought it online and thought that there would be plenty of chance to get the second one if I really liked this, and I didn't want to risk buying both at once because I thought they were expensive and it was a treat. So I didn't buy both, and I've regretted it ever since because they stopped making these, and I think they are now so difficult and so expensive to get hold of. So I am looking for volume 2 of season 8, but I will probably be looking for that for a very long time, I imagine, unless they reprint them, which I would love them to. So I haven't actually read much of this yet. I did start it, but I am really, really interested to get into these. So much so that when I was in Brighton the other week, I bought this graphic novel, Legacy Edition Book 1, and the stories are set in season 3, which was my favourite season. So looking forward to reading this as well. So I do have a lot of Buffy graphic novels to read. I thought it might be nice to read one of the old books from my box for old time's sake, and to also get started on these graphic novels. So in the next part of the video, I will come back to you and let you know what I thought about my reread of Buffy, and I might also be able to give you a bit of review of this one. We'll see how it goes. Right, it is quite a few days later and I'm back with my verdict on Buffy. Do I still love Buffy? Well, I think I already knew that, definitely. But here's what happened when I tried one of the Buffy books to see if it was trash or not, and to see if I would still love it. So I was choosing out of these 3 books. We had Obsidian Fate, Sins of the Father, and the one I actually chose was Immortal by Christopher Golden and Nancy Holder. And my main reason for choosing this one was one that I seem to remember it being a good one, or maybe it was just standing out to me because of the red cover. I liked the sound of the premise, and I liked the fact that it was by Christopher Golden and Nancy Holder, because I remembered that a lot of their team-ups were some of the very best Buffy books. I also have found time to read the Buffy graphic novel that I picked up on my trip to Brighton, so I'm also going to wrap up that one as well. So first of all, how did I get on with Immortal? I loved it. I think it's safe to say I still love Buffy books. I still love the Buffy universe, and this is a particularly good Buffy book, I think. So one of the things I love most about Buffy the Vampire Slayer is the fact that she is a teenage girl having to balance her regular life with her life fighting vampires and demons. And in this one, Buffy is facing a truly immortal vampire who every time Buffy stakes her, she is just reborn in another vampire body, so seems to be unkillable, which could easily be the plot of an episode, to be honest. I like the fact that this seemed to be set sort of vaguely within season 3, which is probably my favourite series, and I really liked the fact that it is a really good example of Buffy trying to balance non-Slayer life with Slayer life, because in this one, Joyce Summers, her mother, has fallen ill, and Buffy is really, really worried about her. There's big things going on in their family life. And again, sounds like the plot of a Buffy episode, because in later series, long after this book was published, this did actually become a major storyline in the TV series. But without spoiling either the book or the TV series, if you haven't watched them, you should. This book just made me want to read only Buffy books, and I wish that I had spent more of GarbAugust on Buffy books, because this was just great fun. I understand that TV tie-ins are trash or trashy, but for me, they are really, really good fun, and I just enjoy reading them. And to me, that's not necessarily trash. Was it quick and easy to read? Yeah, pretty much. Was it like the world's best writing? Probably not, but I do think that these are better written than you would think. Certainly better written than some other tie-ins, I would say. So I did really, really enjoy revisiting the Buffy the Vampire Slayer books, and I will be keeping my box of Buffy books I very possibly will be rereading some as comfort reads, and it has led me to go back to the TV series, which I was a little way through a rewatch last year maybe, and picked it up where I've left off. I'm really enjoying revisiting series 3. I was very glad that I also had the graphic novel to read, because otherwise I would have been tempted to do more rereads. This is Legacy Edition Volume 1 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This supposedly collects together comics that were set in season 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So far so good. To me, maybe they didn't always seem like they were set during season 3. There were some that definitely seemed a bit more season 2-ish. There were a few discrepancies. Definitely Buffy and Angel's relationship seemed to be at about the right place for sort of early season 3, but there's no faith in this. So it's very possible to me that these were written, I would have to look into when they were written, but that these were written kind of before series 3 came out, or so are kind of parallel to season 3, if that makes sense. I don't know, but I mean, that didn't really bother me. I thought the artwork was really good. I really enjoyed some of the storylines. This apparently collects these together in the order that they were published. There's clearly an overarching story in here, and it collects together Buffy the Vampire Slayer numbers 1 to 10, but it also intersperses those with some smaller, shorter comics, which were obviously maybe released in between these ones, but have different storylines or just a standalone storyline. The only really frustrating thing about it is that it ended on a cliffhanger, not only for the main overarching storyline ending with book 10, also it started up another little comic, and that seemed to finish after about 3 pages, which was a bit annoying. But of course it's made me want Legacy Edition Volume 2, which is probably what they were aiming to do. So overall, I had a really enjoyable time with this. I mean, I just enjoyed revisiting Buffy, to be honest, so you could have put any kind of Buffy storylines in front of me and I would have lapped it up. So hopefully I'm going to be able to go back to reading some other books that aren't Buffy, but I definitely will be looking out for more of these graphic novels so that I can re-immerse myself in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, set at around a time when I really enjoyed Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, and at some point I will read my Buffy Season 8 Omnibus 1. The only thing that concerns me about that is that although it does collect together a lot of comics, I don't have any opportunity to get hold of Omnibus 2. That's going to be one that I definitely am going to read, but also, much as I love Buffy, I don't love the later series as much as I loved the earlier series. For me, yes, it is great to find out what happened to Buffy after season 7 on TV, but I enjoy even more finding out extra little stories from the time when I really enjoyed the series. So that's just me. But yes, TV tie-ins, yes please. Buffy tie-ins, definitely. And if I see any more Buffy books that I have not yet collected, I am definitely going to be adding them to my collection. And I don't really care whether people think that this is trash reading, because I love it. I really loved it. And I still do love it. So this experiment has been highly successful. Anyway, that is all from me for this video, all about my Buffy the Vampire Slayer book collection and revisiting it, finding out whether I still love the TV tie-in books, which I do. I hope you've enjoyed this video today, and if you have, I hope you'll give it a like, and I hope you will consider subscribing if you haven't already. Do let me know in the comments down below, do you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer? If so, what's your favourite series or favourite spin-off? Favourite TV tie-in book, if you've read one? Let me know. All things Buffy the Vampire Slayer down below. And we're coming to the end of GarbAugust now. This video is going out a week later than scheduled. It's been an enjoyable month of reading some trash, but, well, my 2 massive takeaways from GarbAugust have been: 1, we should read whatever we want, whenever we want, and 2, TV tie-in books are great. I will very much hope to see you all again soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Bye for now, and happy reading!